Welcome back to another chat, guys. Last time we spoke about my favorite characters in the Smash series, and now I want to jump in and talk about Smash 4, Smash Wii-U, whatever you want to call it. And what better way than with a character wish list. So these are my top 10 characters that I want for Smash 4. So before I start my top 10, I want to have some honorable mentions. Some characters that I would really like to see in the game, but I really don't see them appearing. I'll start with one of them, and that one is Scizor. Scizor was probably the coolest looking character in the Pokemon Gold and Silver games. He looks badass, he's a powerful character, and he seems pretty popular with people, but I don't see him in the game really because he's not a MEWTWO, you know, he's not a Lucario, he's not one of those. So I would like to see him in, but I really don't see him getting in. Hopefully as a Pokeball though. Another character that I didn't quite make my top 10, but I almost put him on is Skull Kid. Skull Kid is the main antagonist. Well, Majora's Mask is the main antagonist of Majora's Mask, but Skull Kid is pretty much the guy that's causing all the trouble in that game. And ever since Majora's Mask came out, there has been a huge fan following for that game. A lot of people have been asking the director, when are we getting a Majora's Mask remake on 3DS or any kind of remake? So there has been a lot of talk about that game, and even the new game, A Link Between Worlds, there has been hints of a Majora's Mask connection. So that game is definitely still on the minds of fans and the people that create the Zelda series. And my reason that he's not going to be in is for that reason. I mean, there hasn't been any kind of Majora's Mask remake or anything like that. So I think his inclusion would be kind of random. If anything, they would probably use a Skyward Sword character. But I still think Skull Kid would be very cool. I think his final smash would be him bringing the moon down on the stage, and he'd be floating around with the mask on, and just I can't really think of the kinds of moves he does. He just kind of appears in the game, like there's a final boss with Majora at the end, but that's without Skull Kid. And speaking of Zelda, my third honorable mention would be Wolf Link and Midna. I think as soon as Twilight Princess came out, people were like, oh, Wolf Link has to be in the next Smash Brothers. He has to be in it. But I think it goes back to the timing of that game, because that game came out a long time ago, and we've had another Zelda game, another major console Zelda game come out after that. So I don't think the attention would be on the older Zelda games. I think if anything, like I said, they would probably include a Skyward Sword character. I haven't played that game, so I don't really know characters they can include from it. I know there's an antagonist, I forgot his name, I think like Jurham or something. People want him in, and he might get in, but I think there's a bigger fan following for the older Zelda characters. So these are a couple characters that didn't quite make my top 10 list, but onto the real list. So let's start with a character that everybody wants, and that's Ridley. Ridley is an awesome villain, and he's a freaking dragon. For his moves, he would probably be a glider and very powerful with his claws and fire attacks. The size argument for him is void when you look at Bowser and Olimar. It's possible for him to work, but Sakurai seems to imply that he's going to be a stage hazard in the new Metroid stage. I think if anything in this Smash Brothers, really should have a good shot of getting in. Sakurai has said that he's listened to fans and what kind of characters they've wanted. And we even have Mega Man. People have been asking for Mega Man since Melee, and he's finally in. So who knows, maybe Sakurai will give us Ridley this time. Another character I'd like to see is K.ROOL. Smash needs more villains. He showed up in Mario Sluggers for Wii, and Smash really needs some heavyweight characters, so he would be a great fit. His moves, he would use his crown as a projectile, rush attack, and I could see a final Smash using cannonballs as he did in the first DK game as the final boss. My number 8 would be Crystal. Crystal is another who hasn't been in a game for a while. Granted, there hasn't been a Star Fox game for some time. Crystal could use her staff. It shoots fire, it shoots ice, and could provide a shield. It also can cause a ground quake attack. Use a rocket dash boost, which could be her recovery, and even lets the user disguise themselves, which could be implemented. There are a lot of creative possibilities for Crystal and her staff if she gets in. My next character is probably one that's going to be included, and it's a no-brainer. It's MEWTWO. This guy will definitely be in, and I'll tell you why. He's been given the spotlight again in Pokemon X and Y, which just came out with his new Mega Evolution. 2 Mega Evolutions, which would be a great final smash. Hopefully use the smaller Mega MEWTWO version There was also a developer roundtable for X and Y where someone asked a developer if MEWTWO would be in this new Smash game. The developers gave a typical, "We have nothing to announce," and Sakurai was in the audience and said, "We're thinking about it." I think he's definitely a shoo-in for this game. My next character is one that I'm surprised wasn't in Brawl, and that's the Mii. The Miis have become very popular. Using any of your customizable Miis in Smash would be a great way to show them off. The Miis would use bats, bowling balls, tennis rackets, whatever they use from their Wii Sports games. So there are a lot of resources to draw for these characters. A cool final Smash I'd like to see is one I'll call the Mii Parade. It'd have all the Miis that are tied to your system trying to push your opponents off the stage. It'd be really cool seeing all your Miis on screen at once. Can't see them not including the Miis. So if really doesn't make it in this game, here's another Metroid character who I would like to see, and it's DARKSAMUS. This character could easily be a clone of Samus, but I think Sakurai is smarter than that. This Samus could use her phase-on powers and shoot scatter shots, use shields, float around, and just be I think a quicker Samus. Smash needs more Metroid love. Number 4 is DIXIE. DIXIE would be a great fit. Her hair would be her method of attack and recovery. I believe they will announce her closer to Tropical Freeze's release date, since they have been announcing characters side by side with their own game's release. So I think we'll definitely see some DIXIE. Number 3 is a character who I cannot believe has not been in Smash yet, and that's Little Mac. Little Mac is old school Nintendo. He would use his uppercuts, punches, and speed to move around the stage. I don't think Little Mac uses projectiles in his games, so I think he'd be a quick, in-your-face character. So here's to seeing some Little Mac. Number 2 is a personal favorite of mine, and he's actually already been in Smash, but I would love to see Charizard go solo. I don't think it's a stretch saying Charizard is one of the most popular Pokemon in the series, if not the most popular. And in X and Y, he also has 2 Mega Evolutions. With him going solo, they could focus more on all the moves Charizard has to offer. Maybe include some dragon moves like a Dragon Claw or Dragon Breath. Maybe give him a Seismic Toss like they do in the anime. Maybe an Earthquake attack. But I think for his final Smash, he'll definitely be using his Mega Evolution to fly around the stage and, throw fireballs at everyone. And now my number 1 character, my number 1 pick for the next game is Reggie Fils-Aimé. I would have never had thought to put Reggie in this game until I saw a petition that is online right now to have him in the game. This would be a character where Sakurai could really show off his creativity. Classic Reggie lines like the Reginator and my body is ready could easily make Reggie a character to remember. If you actually want to see Reggie in the game, there is a link in the description to the petition where you can sign. They already have 30,000 signatures and they're looking to get 35,000 signatures. So those are my characters that I want to Smash for. With a game like Smash, it's hard to think of who else they could add since they already have all the top characters in the company's history. But it's going to be very interesting to see who does eventually get included. Let me know your top characters in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.
Archer in the base.